Namaste. Welcome to Love Wins. Hope you're having a blessed and beautiful reality. I have a few things to get into. So get comfortable. Grab a coffee, some tea. We're not in a hurry, right? We're not in a hurry. It is a beautiful day. It's a beautiful time to be alive. First, I want to give a quick shout out to the Sacred Rhythm Starter Kit. It is a magical, and I am not promoting, I am not sponsored. This is something I am using, and it has brought a way to put into words, to put into format on paper, something that I was already naturally incorporating in my life, but now I'm able to present it. The Sacred Rhythm Starter Kit, it's a magical 4-week mini curriculum to awaken your child's spirit through nature-based learning, soulful storytelling, elemental play, and ritual. There's a whole lot more that you can purchase and go deep, but this, I'll put the link to this course on the bottom because it's beautifully put together. And represents like everything I represent. I'm an unschooling mom. I shared this meme, is that what they're called? Picture words on my story. Unschooling is just a fancy way of raising your children uninstitutionalized. And we already know that the school system quite conveniently models the prison system, right? But when you fight for freedom, the restrictive forces, the powers that were, will send minions, unconscious souls, to attack. But we are not victims, guys. We are not victims. We're not victims. And that's part of what I want to get into. I have a few things to discuss, but they all tie into the same message. So get cozy, get warm. If you're somewhere warm, get lucky you. Well, it's gonna be 81 today is the high, but the day started at dawn, 52, and it's somewhere about 60 right now. And y'all know anything under 72, suit it up, baby. But by the end of the day, I'll be, tank top, getting sun, moving something. But I like this Sacred Rhythm Starter Kit because every child is different, and I'm so anti-learning being forced. I'm so anti-rigid schedules and structures that aren't conducive for each individual personality, which is why I'm a homeschooling mom. And being that I'm able to be as one, as such, flow is my priority. Healing is my priority. Safe spaces is my priority. Safe spaces. And you have to feel safe in your body to feel safe in your home. Children need to feel safe. So you're gonna shock a kid out of bed and force him to get up and force him to go to a place he doesn't want to go and feel safe at home. A homeschooling mother can cuddle up next to that sleeping child, and they can slowly rise in a safe, loving, warm space. And in that safe, loving, warm space, creativity flows. And when creativity flows, learning happens. And then when the child is feeling seen and heard and happy, and their tummies are filled and their environment is fun, then you can say, hey, you ready to read? And instead, oh no, they'll be like begging you, read this one, read this one, read this one, read this one. I literally have to tell my kids, okay, one book each, and then one group book, and then, okay, we'll do the rest tomorrow. Because I could literally be sitting there reading for hours because they're so excited. They're so excited. Like, that's what this is all about. That's what this is all about, because I have family members, and not even branching outside of the statistics of this world, because I have been collecting the statistics. It's ridiculous. The public school system's failing the children, failing the people, because the systems are collapsing, because they weren't designed for us to empower one another, to empower ourselves. Get in line. They're designed. Get in line. Put your head down. Sit at your desk. Raise your desk. Raise your hand. Ask for permission. Do your job. Be a good citizen. Suppress your emotions. Stop crying. Tough it up. Get it done. We got a whole generation of broken adults. They're all either in therapy, if you're trying to heal. If you're trying to heal. Because a lot of you aren't. A lot of them aren't trying to heal. And it becomes a blame game. It becomes a blame game. I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going into that. We've gone into that a lot. Here, we're about the healing. We are here for the healing. Right? Let's sage that energy. I'm having downloads like a mofo. They're not to be publicly shared right now because I'm in the very precious incubation stage. But it's this clarity of this dream that has been, I've been building something, right? And it's unfolding. It's unfolding. But so let's get into these messages. So what prompted this is I noticed a pattern in self, right? I noticed a pattern with myself, that what has happened to me is becoming my identity. I'm meeting new people in my life. You know, I'm involved in groups and organizations now, and I'm getting the kids out with these groups and these organizations. And as I'm meeting new people, I'm telling, you know, when you meet somebody, you introduce yourself and you tell your story, they tell their story, whatever you feel like sharing, you desire to share, and you go from there. You find similarities and yada, yada, yada. Y'all know how to socialize, right? Like naturally socialize. Not put in a box, in a class, in a concrete room, sit at a desk because you're this age and you're this age, you're this age, and you're all supposed to learn the same thing. We're not talking about that kind of socializing. Natural socialization. And like, because of being here in Michigan and really in my life, you know, I've been a gypsy, I've been I've done a lot of traveling, and I want to live in the islands. I want to live in the mountains. That's not a secret. Everybody knows I got this dream. I want a house in the islands, house in the mountains, and a mobile space in between, a bus, like an RV, a bus. And I really, really want the bus first. Everybody knows this in my life, right? And I'm like, here in Michigan, defending this home, defending this land, standing up for what's right. Feel like I'm doing it on my own. And I start my introduction with, well, I didn't want to be in Michigan, but I'm here now, so da 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 da. And it's like, we have to get to a point, and I'm speaking as what I'm working through now, where what has happened to you, it doesn't become your identity, right? So for me, I'm in this integration process, alchemizing, I'm in the healing process, alchemizing my reality. Do I want to stay in Michigan forever? No, I don't. Am I here now? Yes. So I'm going to court for custody, and my house needs to be a safe space or I lose my kid. Baby daddy couldn't contribute, God forbid, because his child's living in this home, contribute to the making of a safe space. Oh, why would he do that? He'd rather point fingers at, look. But we're here for community. True community, because it takes a village, guys. It does take a village. But when you have bad seeds in your community, you get rotten apples. And I've had a whole lot of rotten apples. And I don't want to plant my pure, ripe seeds in dirty soil and give it contaminated water. Get the message. So, but what has happened has activated the solution, because I'm praying and I'm meditating and I'm doing the work, and the solution is growing from the mud. But I have written on here, fairness is a human construct, which I heard in another reading. Fairness is a human construct, and I wrote it down because what I hear from my kids a lot, that's not fair, and in the world, and I've even caught myself saying it a few times, like, oh my God, that's not fair. And is it fair for the rabbit to get eaten by the wolf? No. It's life. Fairness is a human construct. It's something we created. And it weakens the mind. But I have a few scenarios that I want to share. So my daughter Bella, I have been incorporating the care that I create a responsible environment. And for the kids, picking up your mess is big. This isn't even about homeschooling or not. If you're a parent if you're a parent to a toddler, a young child, mine are 5 and 6, picking up your mess is big. It's teaching them responsibility of self, right? And safe space is a big thing. You want to live in a safe space. Your body is a safe space. You have to take care and be responsible for your environment. Your body is your environment. Brush your teeth. Pick up your mess. simple, basic things that are common sense. But in society, it's not so common because we don't see it as much as it should be seen. Because if it was an action that was like happening on the regular, the children would see it and naturally mold to what they see, because children are sponges and they copy the behaviors, right? So to break these cycles of all of these broken adults, sloppy, messy people, we got to teach the children to pick up their messes, right? So my daughter chases my nephew down the stairs telling him to pick up his socks. I think it was his socks. And yeah, this kid, I love his innocence, but it's like you tell him something, it goes in and it bounces around like a ping pong ball and shoots right out the other side, and you have a 5-minute window to get a task done, or it's forgotten, right? And my daughter's like screaming at him to pick up his mess. I'm like, Bella, what are you doing? She says, it's not fair. If I have to do it, he has to do it. It's like, yeah, you're right about that, kid. You know, like technically it should be a house rule. It should be a house rule, because if you have to do it, he should have to do it. He wasn't taught to do it. It's not a pattern for him to do it, but it is definitely something that is to be incorporated. But as with any parent, as with parenting, any parent should know that strength comes from consistency. You have to repeat and repeat and repeat. It is programming, just like the school system uses programming. Repeat, repeat, repeat until it becomes a reality. But that's how you learn. You learn by doing the same action over and over and over and over again till it becomes an unconscious action. It just becomes, the doing becomes the being, right? So then another thing last night. So my mom was painting something. She was painting a table, a TV table, and she just felt crafty and decided to paint it. And it was really pretty, right? And we went to yoga in the park, and we had a long day. We ended up walking the trails and splashing in the mud and going in the butterfly garden and meeting some friends that they added to on their Roblox. And yes, I haven't completely pulled them from that. I'm working on balance. I say that because it's something that, like, I wish I never would have started. I never would have allowed in the beginning. But I can't judge myself. I have to just be patient with the process. But these kids play it, and they don't play it all day either. They get their free time in the evening, and I thought it was perfect, right? So my kids link up, and they're linking up, and they're downstairs, and my mom goes, Jacob, do you want to see my painting? And he says no. And her feelings get hurt. And she was like, he was so rude when we're talking about it later. I asked him if he wanted to see my painting, and he just said no. And I explained to her, I was like, the delivery was rude because, that's what he's used to. He's heard it from me, he's heard it from his father. But you have to be able to commend him for his ability to speak his truth without taking it personally, because and I went into this long explanation that was just coming to me, but it's like, how am I, take a second to frame these words. What is the word I'm looking for? Comes from expectations. Disappointment comes from expectations, right? Higher teaching, right? Bigger picture. He is not obligated to look at your painting or to like your painting, right? This is something we force, we program. Well, and she said, but every time he comes to me and wants to tell me his stories, I stop what I'm doing and I sit and listen. And I'm like, because you enjoy it? Because you want to? Or because you feel like you have to? She's like, well, if a kid is interested in something, you have to show interest, you know? I said, yeah, you do, but you also have the right to say, baby, I'm doing something right now. I would love to hear about that. Can you tell me in a little bit? You have that right, you know? And if you don't express that right, if you don't use that right, then you are disempowering yourself, and you're expecting him to make the same sacrifice you're making. But that's not fair. That's not fair. And, you know, it was like, you can't take it personally that he's not interested in your painting. The painting was beautiful. She got praise from me. She got praise from Bella. I'm sure she got praise from herself. It was beautiful. But at the same time, me as a mother will work with my child on his delivery, because his delivery was insensitive. It was like, no, I don't want to see it. But he spoke his truth. So I'm honoring his truth, being the generational curse breaker. Being the generational curse breaker for myself, because my soul does not want to repeat these toxic cycles for another lifetime. Hell the no. Okay? No, I'm not repeating these toxic cycles. Here to break these cycles, you know, sovereignty. But you got to do it right. You got to do the right things for the right reason. So I would want to constantly encourage my child to speak his truth, to express the way he feels, right? But I don't want him to be a rude asshole, because the person he's molding can be very much a rude asshole. This is the type of person that cuts their eyes at waiters and waitresses, and then you're worried, like, oh my God, are they going to spit in my food? That type of pattern, I don't want my child to develop that, right? So I got to do everything in my power to help him balance what he has ingested, and do the magic and the alchemy, and that is with love and understanding, time and presence and awareness, and properly communicate, and explain to him, hey, you hurt grandma's feelings when you said no. You don't have to look, but there's a nicer way to say it, right? There's a nicer way to say it that's a little more heartfelt, a little less cold, but still allows you to speak your truth. You know, he was excited. He just connected with this kid. He was trying to figure out how to voice call, because he has a new friend, right? That was the only thing his brain was going, is I got a new friend. And grandma asking to look at the painting, it was like, I can't right now, grandma, right? I got a new friend. But yeah, that's the lesson. That was the lesson. Fairness is a human construct. My mother's belief that he should do it because she does it was part of her programming. She wasn't given that space to freely express herself. She was told, you do this because you do this. You look because I say look. You speak because I say speak. You sit because I say sit. Breaking free from the indoctrination. It's a very, very delicate process. You're cracking open cracking open your psyche. And it's really dark. It's really dark in that space. So you got to put love in that space. You got to put love, compassion, understanding, forgiveness. But you're not a doormat. You're a goddess. So don't let anyone step on you in this fragile space. Speak your truth. Even if your truth hurts people, even if your truth hurts someone's feelings. We didn't come here to walk on eggshells of other people's feelings and emotions. We came here to break the eggs open. To break the eggs open. Yeah. Integration, guys. Integration. That's what it's all about. So, I hope you have a blessed and beautiful reality. This is my message for the morning. It's already warming up because I can feel I'm getting hot. And I need to go check on my kids and get moving with the day. I love you. Love wins, guys. Love wins.